But here's the thing. We build a business around a big hailstorm, right? Big hailstorm happens, you're ramping up, you're hiring people left and right, you're doing everything you can to grow your business to fulfill that demand that's right there in front of you. And then what happens when that dries up? You're only as good as your team, and you need to understand what you're really good at early. I have to focus my energy on helping get the most out of the people that I have. And that's a leadership shift that we have to make if we're really trying to grow a great business.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown. This is the Hook Better Leads podcast, and today I have the pleasure of being with Randy Brothers. How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Very little prep on this one.
Let's go.
Let's
go, dude.
We're talking about retail versus insurance in a roofing company, and what would you do if you were starting over? So I just finished your book, so I've got questions. I've got questions ready.
Love it.
I'm curious though, if you were starting over, what would you really push on out the gate?
Well, I believe that retail is the better business decision because more predictable. You can scale like with intentionality, and you can kind of control your numbers and control predictable growth and really look at a market and find niches and find areas to build a business, around, opportunities within your market. But that ties us right into the hail, like the insurance side of the business. Yeah. Whereas if you're in a market that has a big hailstorm, you really need to be prepared to be able to capitalize on that, right? So it's tough.
My money signs go off if hail hit.
Yeah.
Then you don't hold yourself back from that.
No, but here's the thing. We build a business around a big hailstorm, right? Big hailstorm happens, you're ramping up, you're hiring people left and right, you're doing everything you can to grow your business to fulfill that demand that's right there in front of you. And then what happens when that dries up? You have to be very intentional about having a plan in place of how to carry on growth and carry on, leveraging what you build in a hail market to then take that brand and take that opportunity and create a more long-term sustainable business model, which is going to be retail insurance or retail commercial, diversifying, specializing, those sort of things in an event that you don't have hail, right? So that's the challenge.
Would you do retail but in a market that might have hail sometime soon?
That's
if you were willing to move like around the country, would you probably like set yourself up at a place where hail may hit?
So if I'm gonna move, I'm gonna want to go somewhere with a hailstorm because that's kind of the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
You can get in, there's tons of demand, great. This is basic economics, supply versus demand, right? Go to a market that has a ton of demand and then you fulfill, right? You supply, you figure that out. But the downside, the thing to be fearful of, and it's as effective. I've been in this business almost 18 years now, 12 years in roofing specifically, and I've dealt with huge storms, I've dealt with no storms, I've dealt with retail, commercial, all the different things. And when you put all your eggs in a basket of hail and you don't get hail, that poses a big challenge for your business. So
lay off people and shit like that.
Yeah, like when the market changes and the demand changes, you've got to have a plan in place to have something a little more sustainable that's not so heavily reliant on storms, right?
Christmas lights.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Christmas lights and make a couple bucks for like 2 months a year, right?
Hey, something to do in the meantime in the winter up here in the north. Retail versus storm and insurance work. If you were starting from scratch, roofing company, what would you do?
Yeah, so if I was starting back when I first got in the roofing industry and I had to do it over again, knowing what I know now, I would absolutely make sure that my team at least focused on retail at least half the time, if not the majority of the time. I think insurance is great. I'm a huge advocate for chasing insurance work, not necessarily chasing, but if you have it in your market, if you've had some storms come through, to focus on that. But I think focusing on retail and building a brand that's there to last is paramount. I think that's what's most important because I've been in the spot now with Cornerstone where one market we had that we started less than 2 years ago is on track to crush 8 figures. The other is barely going to do 8 figures and it's been in business for 5 years, but we haven't gotten a storm. If we were more focused on retail and the commercial model from the very beginning, I think we could be at a higher rate than we are now.
Hunter Ballew, roofing.com. Thanks for your take.
So, TJ.
Yeah.
TJ, world's greatest roofer on TikTok.
Yeah.
Brother, what would you do if you're starting a company from scratch? Would you go after storms? Would you go after insurance work or retail?
You know what? I've had this opportunity to do both, and you can't just shut down one or the other. If you're in a market that has a storm, you need to utilize that storm as well. You can get quite a few jobs with insurance money, but you can also do the same with retail model. If you're working in the commercial space, retail is typically the only way you can go unless there has been a storm. Just keep crushing your goals, go after and hustle every day.
So basically, retail,
Yeah.
but do it in the storm market. So you can
You can do both. Yeah, you have to do both because most markets in the United States aren't storm markets, they're only retail markets.
Gang, baby. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just finished your book, so I probably could start my own roofing company if I wanted to.
Do
just
it.
kidding.
That's the idea.
Hey,
That was
I
the
don't-
whole idea of the book.
I will say there's a lot of great things in there. You guys should check it out. What is the title again, just for the people?
Start it, build it, grow it. The Contractor's Guide to Success.
Very good book, guys. If you have there's not that many roofing books,
There isn't, and
and I like yours. It's very good.
thank you.
Well, very well done.
Yeah.
What are the other things that you're like, okay, I realize this is probably something you've gotten asked a lot, but like, ideal scenario, you're setting up your roofing company again. What are some of those things that you would have hit? Like, let's say 3 things that you would have hit that other people that you didn't know when you first started. Like, if you were starting your roofing business, you wouldn't know.
First and foremost, I think it starts and ends with your team. A lot of us start a business and we don't have a team in place. I think, and again, this isn't a really answer of what I would do differently because I was really blessed with a good team right off the bat. But for anybody thinking about starting a roofing company, you're only as good as your team, and you need to understand what you're really good at early.
Are you sick of what passes for leads these days? What's wrong with share leads? Or Facebook ad leads? Yeah! Not much, unless you want to be the lowest bidder on every job. I wear a lot of hats, but search engine marketing and website, I've passed off to a Google specialized team.
So a lot of times we start a business, and I did this too. It's like, okay, I'm gonna start a roofing company, and I'm gonna wear all the hats, I'm gonna do all the things. But we spend a lot of wasted time trying to do things that we just aren't good at. So if you can align yourself with people that have the same mission, the same values, that really wanna accomplish, or help you with your goal, or even partner with you, you can go a lot further faster if you have an established leadership team and a good, small group of people that you can work with early on, and you go a lot farther faster. And I think some people kind of miss that sometimes. They pick the pieces up later, but it's really hard to be all things to everyone and everything as a business owner.
I like this anecdote from this book, Scaling Up, that I'm listening to right now on Audible.
Yep, Vern Harnish.
Very, very good. He was talking about for the first 10, to get up to 10 people, you have to hire for things you're not good at, and to get up to 50 people, you got to hire for things you're even good at.
Yep.
Because actually it's weirdly something where, because you're good at it, it ends up being the weakness of the business.
Yeah.
Because you haven't hired those people and actually taken that off your
Yep.
plate because you're good.
Yeah.
And I've like realized that for Hook, because I love marketing us.
Yeah.
And I've realized I need to actually seriously hand that stuff off now.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm going to hold the business back.
Well, great that you mentioned that, because a lot of roofing owners, myself, like I'm really good at sales. I consider myself like I've always done really well with roofing sales, and I could go out there and crush it and just sell all the roofs. But the challenge is, how do I build my business? How do I build a business that's sustainable without me if I'm the number one salesperson? That's a hard transition for a lot of contractors, and we work with contractors all over the country, and a lot of them are trying to kind of make that transition, and a lot of them, you're gonna be the best salesperson for your company. No one eats, sleeps, bleeds the company brand that like you do. Like, no one's gonna sell Hook better than you. No one's gonna sell my company better than me, because I love it and I know everything about it. It's my baby. Like, that passion's gonna come out, right, with the owner. However, if you really want to grow something special, grow something large, grow something that's scalable and that can sustain without you there, you really got to make that plunge at some point, you know, and I had to do that. I had to intentionally remove myself from sales while building a sales system and a sales team to then take over the sales, knowing that they might not be quite as efficient at or as good at sales as me.
But if you get 5 guys that are 60% as good as you.
Or in our case, like to give credit to our team, like they've all been with me a long time. They've all grown and developed. And that's the shift I had to make too, is I had to shift from being a salesperson to like a sales manager, a sales trainer. With my partner does that, a lot of that too, but to like a people developer.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? Like I have to focus my energy on helping get the most out of the people that I have. And that's a leadership shift that we have to make if we're really trying to grow a great business.
Love it. I asked recently, just, you know, most of the people that I'm connected with on Facebook are roofers, and I asked recently just like, what's the biggest problem in your business right now? And I saw a lot of people say, no one is me. No one is me, because I run this business and I do things right, and then when I pass things off, they break. I pass things out, they break. And I know that feeling so well, but I also like, I'm kind of mad at those people a little bit. I'm like, come on, really? Like that's, you're not gonna ever have a business. You're gonna have a job if that's where you get stuck.
Yeah.
So how can you help people? Like, is there anything you can kind of speak to that would help people kind of get over that unfortunately very true speed bump that no one is me? I am the guy that does everything the best.
Well, first and foremost, saying that, you're a little bit arrogant. Sorry, but it's true, right?
There's a lot of people that
because
said that,
if you know, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, if you really want to build something special, like I heard this piece of advice in business school from an entrepreneur that came in, and I've taken this my whole life, and I've said it many times, but I think I even probably said it in the book as well. But some of the best advice I ever got from a great successful entrepreneur is find people better than you. Okay? If your pride is in the way when you're hiring people, that you're just, I'm a little bit better than that person. I'm a little better than that person. I'm going to stay above that person because we're too prideful and nervous and scared to actually like
you're going to attract
give somebody an opportunity that could actually excel above and beyond my skill set.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, it's easier said than done because we're humans. We are the top. It is my baby. It's my business. And I'm the man.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, like, if you really want to do what we're trying to do and grow something really special, man, you got to be able to shift from being the man doing everything and I'm the best at everything to trying to find people who are really, really good and even better than you are at specific areas of the business.
Yeah.
And one at a time, put a person in place that's really good at logistics. Put a person in place or outsource someone to do your marketing, or put someone who's really good in sales.
Marketing manager, okay. There's just not,
Gotta give my man a little love here. Gotta play the hook.
So you might as well, you know.
Yeah, you know. But that's the key though, and that's hard. I'll be the first to admit that it's hard because when you get to a place in your business that you've actually relinquished a lot of those things, a lot of your tasks to good leadership, good people in place, like you have to fight with what's my value in my business again? Like what's my value to my own business? Like I have a CEO in place. She's better than me. Yeah. Like she's good at making decisions.
You'll
and
find
like,
stuff though. You like
and like I want to contribute and help and support, but I also need to know when to, you know what? Let it ride, because I put someone in place that I feel is great at making decisions, that's going to do really well by the business, that's going to make great decisions for the business. I have to let that happen and let her do her thing, right? That's tough too as a leader, as you develop in any business and you kind of get to your role, where I've kind of shifted to where I know my role now. And my role is not the CEO of operations in the business. It's shifted, but I had to find someone better than me and allow them to develop to be better than me. So that's the key to all of this.
Yeah.
Developing people. We have to, as leaders, we have to go from a salesperson to a business development person, or to a business implementer to a people development person, right? If we want to really build something special, you have to master the art of developing people.
I love that. And if you don't, what happens?
You'll always be the one at the top with a bunch of people below you.
And you might just not inspire people and they'll go away kind of quick.
There you go. What's the saying? People don't quit companies, they quit people.
Yeah.
Right? If you have a big turnover problem in your business and it's always everybody else's fault, say that out loud to yourself and you'll be able to figure out what the real challenge and real issue is. Go look in the mirror first. Unfortunately, we all have to go through that process.
The funny thing is I get mad at that comment about, no one is me, because I've been there.
Yeah.
And I want you to get past that. And
Yeah.
whatever you can do to get past that freedom is beyond that. Freedom is beyond that idea that you're the only one. And also, Gary Vee always says, no, it's true. No one's going to care about your business as much as you are. You have to take extreme responsibility. You have to be ready to take those bumps and bruises, but you also have to allow your people to drop some eggs. You gotta let some stuff happen.
Yeah.
You can't run in and fix every problem.
Yeah.
Or you're literally shackling yourself to that business forever.
Yeah. Well, if you take ownership of becoming, I don't believe I'll ever be the leader I want to be, right? It's a lifelong journey of leadership growth and development. I'm on this journey. I want to be a great leader. I want to be a better leader today than I was yesterday. And that's the mentality I feel like I just need to stay with. And I think all of us need to stay with as leaders. But if you really want to be an inspirational leader, that's what it takes to get people to help you achieve your dreams.
When it comes down to trying to find business in the winter, when the storm's over, when there's no fresh damage to work, we'll go back to Hill Trace. We'll track down a swath that most contractors haven't had the opportunity to go out and address yet because they're so busy chasing the big storm. As long as we've got a date within reason, we can chase that storm, we can pick up jobs, we can pick up leads.
Okay, you can't just throw money and say, here's a job, here's some money, here's some KPIs, go do your job. That's boring. Who wants to rally around something like that? So we have to be inspirational leaders that have a bigger purpose and a bigger cause and take our business and create something bigger, create something that somebody wants to be a part of, and then put great people that match your values in place. That's when you get the most out of your people. But it starts and ends with values.
I love it. And I do think part of it is making sure that they're pursuing their dreams as part of this process, because I think maybe you introduced me to this. I don't know. Dream Manager. Have you ever heard of that? Or anyways, Dream Manager is a book that's about that. It's basically about, and now I'm trying to teach my people to do this, but it's kind of developing. Hey, what is your dream? And if you don't have one, let's develop it.
Yeah.
And then, is there anything I can do to help you move towards your dream, whether it be home ownership or even a career that's different and beyond what they're doing at my business, trying to help them develop it, even as much as that hurts.
Yeah.
But I think if you actually can tap into other people's dreams and their vision for their life,
Love
and
that.
so helping them develop that so that you get more of their energy.
Yeah.
Because if you tamp down on everybody and you're kind of that authoritarian leader, you're kind of squelching half the energy. Because half the energy is their being, their life outside of this business, and you could utilize more of that by inviting them to share with you what their dreams are.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we talk about, being an inspirational leader is helping others, inspiring others to become the best versions of themselves inside of work and outside of work. How do we do that? Create an organization that allows that, and see what happens with your team and your culture, and see what happens with everything. It's amazing.
Do you ever feel I really study leadership and I'm trying to learn, I'm reading these books, but whenever I talk about it, I actually know something, I always feel a little like a faker. I feel like leadership is something, I'm certainly a young person being in a position of leading a 20-person team. Do you ever feel like you're I don't know, I feel like if my team watched this video, I feel like they'd be like, dude, you're not that great of a leader, bro.
Well, I agree, but that's why I was very intentional earlier when I said, I am on a lifelong journey to be a great
Yes,
leader. Like I'll
exactly.
never be a great leader, so
Yeah.
to speak. But I believe that as long as you embrace your role as a leader and you're focused on getting better each and every day from a leadership perspective, you are a great leader. People are going to want to be a part of you, no matter what age you are.
Yeah.
And I also believe every single person in an organization should be and is a leader, right? So
exactly.
our job as leaders, coming from John Maxwell,
Yeah.
our job as leaders is to develop other leaders. That's what, in its core, that's what leadership's all about. So the more I can learn and become a better and better and better leader, the more leaders I can develop, the better everything happens. The better my personal life, my business life, their lives, everyone is impacted in a positive way. So we'll never get there. You're never gonna be a great leader, Tim,
Yeah.
but you're a damn good one right now.
Yeah.
Because you embrace the idea of being a good leader and you care about your people.
Yeah.
And you focus on getting better every day. I think that's what it's all about.
No, I think you're right. I think that's the absolute truth. There's basically like just trying is a big deal. Because
Yeah.
a lot of the people on my team, like they've been part of companies where they didn't try. They weren't trying, they didn't care,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to be, they didn't have people that wanted to develop them.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, on the other side, it's just the bar is kind of low for a lot of companies.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned Gary Vee earlier. He talks a lot about self-awareness.
Yeah.
I think being self-aware is a vital part of that because, if you're not aware enough to know in the areas that you need to improve on, like you're never going to be a great leader because you've got blind spots.
Yeah.
But if you're always looking to how do I improve myself, and being self-aware and being able to take criticism and take energy and different things from other people to then look at yourself inwardly and try to get better each and every day, that's the key to it, I think. We'll never be fully self-aware, but as long as you embrace the idea of stepping outside yourself, looking at yourself and seeing where are my blind spots, where are my areas that I'm challenged, how do I get better in those areas, I think that's another key to growing as a leader.
100%. I do think too, like I was talking about, like I was judging those people for this thing that I do sometimes, which I think I'm the special only one that can do this particular thing. And I think that is a kind of an indicator. If you're judging somebody for something, kind of like you might be projecting.
Yeah.
And I think I might be projecting, and I do see that where I get angry. I do get angry. I'm that kind of leader. I occasionally get angry. I try not to I don't yell at my employees or anything but you get fiery. You're like, oh God,
you're
passionate.
passionate.
Let's do this shit. And I do see that I was just kind of reflecting because this happened this past week where I was like upset, and I just walked out of the room and I tried not to freak out, but I think I'm also like upset because I see myself in that, and I'm like, I wish I wasn't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think sometimes when you're judging people, you also might have gone through that, and you kind of remember that, and you're like, damn.
Yeah, we tend to, you nailed it with the projection piece. We tend to be like, project the things about us that we don't want to admit that are true on others when we're judging others. But take that same concept to parenthood, right? You got kids.
Yeah, I'm getting a kid soon.
You got a kid soon.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
with, it's like my son, same thing. I have a tendency to get frustrated and angry and whatever. And when I see him get mad, it's hard. You're like,
Oh, shit.
you're like, what did I do
Yeah.
to teach him that it's okay to act that way when he's angry?
Yeah.
And they are a reflection. They mimic what we do, and that's you want to check how good of a leader you're being.
Yeah.
See how your kids are acting, and see
no.
how well they're projecting off of you, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
When you watch your kid do something that you don't like in your own self, you're like, oh crap, I didn't do a good enough job protecting him from that or not showing that part of me. So I got to look inwardly and fix that and get better at that and not let my anger, manifest itself to where my little kid sees that and now he thinks it's okay to act that way.
That's good, man.
That's tough.
You heard it here. Leadership lessons from having children, and I'm sure you guys are dealing with some of this stuff too.
Yeah.
This has been a great podcast. I really appreciate you. We
Heck yeah, man.
went deep. We went
That's what
deep
we do.
on this one.
Let's go.
grateful to have you. Is there anything you'd want to direct people's attention to at the end of the podcast here?
All I'll say, I mean, connect with me. You know, Tim's the man. Appreciate you having me on. You can check me out on social media, all the different platforms. We also have our own podcast called the Start, Build, Grow Show that Tim's been on as well. So we kind of gone back and forth. So make sure to subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to the Start, Build, Grow Show. We're on all the podcast platforms, all the social media platforms. We're on YouTube. You can find me there, Randy Brothers, on all the platforms as well. And you mentioned the book, Start It, Build It, Grow It, The Contractor's Guide to Success. You can find it on Amazon.
Awesome. And this is the Hook Better Leads podcast put on by hookagency.com and Hook Agency all over social. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. Bye.
Later.